The Thanksgiving dinner at my parents' house was going exactly as expected. My brother Thomas showcasing his investment banking success while belittling my career choices. "So, little brother," Thomas smirked over his wine glass, "still working those long hospital shifts? What is it now, resident? Junior attending?" I calmly cut into my turkey, used to his condescension. After all, he was the family's golden child. Harvard MBA, Morgan Stanley executive and self-proclaimed financial genius. I was just the doctor who'd spent the last 15 years studying medicine and working my way through every level of hospital operations. "Chief of emergency medicine now," I replied quietly. Mom beamed at Thomas. "Honey, tell everyone about your new summer house in the Hamptons." "Oh yes," he grinned, "just closed the deal. 7 bedrooms, private beach. Cost more than Alex will make in 10 years of playing doctor." Dad nodded approvingly. "That's my boy. Always thinking big." "Speaking of which, did you hear about Metropolitan Hospital's financial troubles?" My ears perked up, though I kept my expression neutral. Metropolitan was where I worked. Or rather, where I appeared to work. "Oh yes," Thomas practically purred. "Word on Wall Street is they're ripe for takeover. My firm's actually preparing a bid. Going to restructure the whole thing, cut all that wasteful spending on charity care and research." "How fascinating," I murmured, checking my phone discreetly. The message I'd been waiting for had just arrived. "Acquisition complete. Paperwork filed. You should get out while you can, Alex," Thomas continued. "Once my firm takes over, we'll be trimming the fat. No room for soft-hearted doctors who waste time on poor patients." Mom patted my hand sympathetically. "Maybe Thomas could find you a position at one of his friend's private practices?" "I'm comfortable where I am," I replied. "Comfortable?" Thomas scoffed. "You're barely making 6 figures while I clear 7 every month. Still driving that old Honda too, I noticed. Meanwhile, my new Porsche." "How's the hospital's board meeting going?" I interrupted, knowing exactly what was happening across town. "What?" Thomas frowned. How do you know about the board meeting?" "Just curious. Since you're planning to take over and all." He laughed. "Private equity business, little brother. Way above your pay grade. The board's voting on our proposal right now. By dinner's end, Metropolitan will be mine to restructure." Right on cue, my phone buzzed. The timing couldn't have been more perfect. "Excuse me," I said, "I need to take this call." "Problems with a patient's insurance?" Thomas smirked. "That'll be changing soon under new management." I stepped into the hallway, had a brief conversation, then returned to the dining room. Mom was serving dessert while Thomas regaled everyone with his takeover plans. "First thing to go will be that ridiculous free clinic program," he was saying. "Then we'll cut research funding. Hospitals should treat patients, not play scientist. And of course we'll need to trim staff." "Interesting plan," I said, sitting back down. "But there might be a small problem." "Oh." Thomas raised an eyebrow. "And what would you know about corporate takeovers?" "Well," I smiled slightly, "it's generally good practice to make sure the target company is actually for sale before planning its restructuring." "Of course it's for sale. My firm has inside information." "Had inside information," I corrected. "Until about 20 minutes ago, when the board approved a different buyer." Thomas's fork clattered against his plate. "What are you talking about?" "You see, while you were busy broadcasting your takeover plans, someone else was quietly buying up shares through various shell companies. As of..." I checked my watch. "Exactly 18 minutes ago, that someone acquired controlling interest in Metropolitan Hospital Group." "That's impossible." Thomas sputtered. "Who would dare interfere with our deal?" The front door chimed and our housekeeper hurried to answer it. Moments later, Dr. Sarah Chin, Metropolitan's hospital director, rushed into the dining room. "Dr. Peterson, the board meeting, they're waiting for you to start your first session as chairman and CEO." The dining room froze in a tableau of shock. Mom's coffee cup crashed to the floor, spreading a dark stain across her precious Persian rug. Thomas's face cycled through shades of red while Dad's fork remained suspended halfway to his mouth. "I'm sorry," Dr. Chin continued, seemingly oblivious to the family drama, "but the board is eager to begin implementing your 5-year strategic plan. The media is already requesting statements about the acquisition." "Acquisition?" Thomas found his voice, though it cracked slightly. What acquisition? I stood up, straightening my tie. The one I've been orchestrating for the past 3 years. You see, while you were bragging about summer homes, I was building a healthcare investment group. Every long shift you mocked? I was learning hospital operations from the ground up. That waste of time research led to patents worth billions. Billions. Mom whispered, coffee forgotten. Dr. Peterson's medical innovations have revolutionized emergency care, Dr. Chin explained proudly. The patents alone are valued at $4.2 billion. That's partly how he funded the acquisition. Thomas lunged for his phone, frantically pulling up financial news. His face went from red to pale as he read the headlines. Breaking. Metropolitan Hospital Group acquired by Peterson Medical Innovations. Wall Street shocked as doctor-led investment group outmaneuvers major PE firms. Healthcare visionary takes control of largest hospital network. But our deal, Thomas stammered, was never going to happen, I finished for him. I made sure of that. The board preferred my vision of expanding healthcare access over your plan to trim the fat. Dr. Chin nodded. The voting wasn't even close. 12-0 in favor of Dr. Peterson's acquisition. Dad finally lowered his fork. Son, where did you get the resources? Remember that worthless research into emergency response algorithms? Google bought the rights for $1.8 billion. The new treatment protocols I developed, licensed to every major hospital in the country. That waste of time, free clinic program? Proved so effective that the Gates Foundation gave us $500 million to expand it. Thomas was still scrolling through news articles, his hands shaking. The purchase price. This says $7.3 billion? 7.5 actually, I corrected. The extra $200 million is for the immediate implementation of my healthcare accessibility program. You know, the one you called wasteful spending. Mom's coffee cup lay forgotten as she stared at me. But you drive that old Honda. Because I believe in living modestly and investing in what matters, I replied. Though I do own the building your summer house is in, Thomas. Along with most of that block. The real estate division of my company acquired it last year. Your company? Thomas choked. Dr. Chin pulled up some figures on her tablet. Peterson Medical Innovations is now valued at approximately $12 billion, following today's acquisition. We're already receiving partnership offers from major healthcare providers worldwide. 12 billion. Dad's voice was barely a whisper. Which reminds me, I turned to Thomas, you might want to update your resume. Given that I now own the hospital network your firm was trying to acquire, your position might be a bit awkward. Thomas collapsed back into his chair. This can't be happening. Oh, it's happening, I assured him. And those efficiency cuts you were planning? We're making them, starting with overpaid investment bankers who don't understand healthcare. Dr. Chin checked her watch. Sir, the press conference is in 30 minutes. And the governor is waiting to discuss the statewide implementation of your healthcare accessibility program. The governor? Mom squeaked. Yes, right after my call with the Secretary of Health and Human Services about taking the model national. I straightened my jacket. Dr. Chin, please have the car brought around. We shouldn't keep the board waiting. Of course, sir. Though, several news outlets are asking about the rumored Nobel Prize nomination. Thomas made a sound like a deflating balloon. We'll discuss that later, I said, gathering my things. Family dinner's been illuminating. 1 month later, I sat in my new office atop the Metropolitan Hospital building, reviewing the latest implementation reports of our healthcare innovation programs. The wall of windows offered a panoramic view of the medical campus I now controlled, including the new research center being built where the executive parking lot used to be. A gentle knock interrupted my work. Dr. Peterson? Your family is here for the requested meeting. Send them in, Dr. Chin. They entered hesitantly, quite a change from their previous confident struts. Thomas, notably absent his designer suit, wore business casual that screamed, job interview. Mom had replaced her usual jewelry with a simple pearl necklace, while Dad seemed to have aged years in the past month. Please sit, I gestured to the chairs facing my desk. The office, once a shrine to corporate excess under the previous administration, now featured medical innovation awards, research acknowledgments, and a prominent display of patient success stories. Interesting changes you've made, Dad commented, eyeing the Nobel Prize nomination letter framed on the wall. Just aligning our facilities with our mission, I replied, pulling up the monthly reports on my holographic display. Would you like to see what your nobody doctor has been up to? Thomas shifted uncomfortably as the statistics floated in the air. Asterisk patient satisfaction, up 85%. Asterisk treatment costs, down 60%. Asterisk research breakthroughs, 12 major innovations in 1 month. Asterisk stock value, increased 140%. Asterisk employee satisfaction, highest in industry. Asterisk healthcare accessibility, expanded to 300,000 new patients. But the profit margins, Thomas couldn't help himself, have exceeded all projections, I finished. Turns out putting patients before profits actually increases both. Our new model is being studied by Harvard Business School, your alma mater, right, Thomas? He flushed deep red. Of course, I continued. They're more interested in our healthcare innovations than our financial success. Speaking of which, Dr. Chen, how's the national rollout going? She consulted her tablet. The White House task force approved implementation in all 50 states. The UN representatives arrive next week to study the model for global adaptation. And the Gates Foundation doubled their funding after seeing the preliminary results. Mom's hands twisted in her lap. The Christmas charity gala has been transformed into a medical innovation showcase, I said. Instead of spending millions on caviar and champagne, we're funding breakthrough treatments for rare diseases. Last week's event raised $300 million for pediatric cancer research. But the social connections, she protested weakly, are stronger than ever. Though now we're connecting with people who actually want to change the world, not just brag about their summer homes. I glanced at Thomas. Speaking of which, how's the Hamptons property? He stared at his shoes. The bank foreclosed. Ah yes, after your firm's failed takeover attempt led to that unfortunate stock collapse. Interesting how markets react when overconfident investors overplay their hands. Dad cleared his throat. Son, about the family trust's medical investments have been redirected to support actual medical innovation rather than corporate profits, I finished. The returns are quite impressive. Dr. Chin. The trust's healthcare portfolio has grown 340% since the redistribution, she reported. Though more importantly, the funded research has led to 3 breakthrough treatments for previously untreatable conditions. Thomas finally found his voice. About my resume. Yes, I received it. Along with your application for the junior administrative position. I pulled up his file. Interesting career pivot, from planning to dismantle hospitals to wanting to help run one. I thought, given the family connection, we don't do nepotism here, I cut him off. Every position is earned on merit. Though, I surveyed him thoughtfully, we do have an opening in the community outreach program. Entry level, working directly with the patients you once dismissed as unnecessary expenses. His face fluctuated between humiliation and desperate hope. You'll start at the bottom, I continued. Learning healthcare from the ground up like I did. Minimum wage for the first year. No corner office, no executive privileges. Just honest work helping people heal. I'll take it, he whispered. Mom's eyes widened. Thomas. Working for minimum wage. Actually, I corrected, working for something more valuable than money. Understanding what healthcare really means. The same lesson I learned while you all mocked my career choices. Dr. Chin interjected with another update. Sir, the WHO director is on line 1 about implementing your model in developing nations. And Time magazine needs to confirm the cover shoot for their Person of the Year issue. Dad's hands gripped his armrests. Time magazine? They're featuring our healthcare revolution, I explained. Though I'm more proud of yesterday's results. 1,000 children received life-saving treatments they couldn't previously afford. That's worth more than any magazine cover. I stood up, adjusting my white coat over my suit. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have rounds to make. Unlike some executives, I still practice medicine. It keeps me connected to what really matters. But you own the hospital, Mom stuttered. Why would you still treat patients? Because I'm a doctor first and a businessman second. Something Thomas might learn in his new position. I turned to Dr. Chin. Please show my brother to HR. He can start by shadowing our emergency room staff. See healthcare from the other side of the spreadsheet. As they filed out, I noticed Thomas pause by the wall of patient thank you letters. For the first time, I saw something replace the arrogance in his eyes. Perhaps understanding, perhaps regret. Alex, he said quietly, using my first name instead of little brother, for the first time in years. I was wrong about you. No, I replied. You were wrong about what matters. Money is easy to make, Thomas. Making a difference, that's the real challenge. After they left, I stood at the window watching the bustling medical campus below. In the courtyard, patients walked in the healing garden that had replaced the executive parking lot. Through the corridors, doctors and nurses moved efficiently, unburdened by corporate bureaucracy. From the research wing came reports of new treatments, developed without profit pressure. And in every room people were being healed, not because of their wealth but because of their need. My old stethoscope hung on the wall, a reminder of where I started and why. Beside it, the headlines told the story of transformation. Asterisk, healthcare revolutionary. How one doctor changed medicine. Asterisk, metropolitan miracle. Profits rise as costs fall. Asterisk, medical vision. Local doctor becomes global health leader. Asterisk, from ER to empire. The doctor who redefined healthcare. But the most important display wasn't the headlines or awards. It was the live patient care metrics showing lives being saved right now because we'd chosen healing over profit. I picked up my stethoscope. It was time for rounds. After all, I hadn't built this to be a SEAL. I'd built it to be a better doctor. And somewhere in the emergency room my brother was about to learn the same lesson I had. Sometimes the biggest success comes from helping others, not helping yourself.